want to continue with our backstory behind each of the vested books, and this time I'm on book number 6, which is Strategic Sourcing in the New Economy. And the subtitle is Harnessing the Potential of Sourcing Business Models for Modern Procurement. So the concept of sourcing business models wasn't new for this book. Actually, it had dated back when we were very first thinking about Vested, and we have always said Vested was a business model to move away from transactional ways of working to outcome-based, a business model move away from a transaction contract to a relational contract, and a business model to change our culture, right, from task-oriented to true collaborative, boundary-spanning ways of working. And so we had this theory and this concept, and we framed it out a little bit in our second book, in the Vested Outsourcing Manual, but it was maybe, 3 pages in the whole book. And we had this little table, and it said, oh, you should think about your sourcing business model, and here's some guidelines for that. But it was very light. And so Bonnie Keith is one of the co-authors on this book, and she is amazing. She is one of our adjunct faculty at the University of Tennessee, but she comes from a practitioner's perspective and has been a chief procurement officer, chief supply chain officer for 3 Fortune 100 companies. So really been in the trenches. And so we began to go back in and look at how companies sourced all of their goods and services. So you think about a typical company, and I'm going to just say Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble has, I'm not kidding, 80,000 suppliers. They can't all be strategic invested. So we need to almost have a funnel. When should I actually be transactional? Because there's lots of things. If you're buying pens, it's perfectly okay to be transactional. So we began to take this concept of the sourcing continuum and these sourcing models and come up with some guidelines, some rules, a cheat sheet that would help people understand when to do vested and when not to. And many people come to me and they say, okay, everything's vested to you. I even wear orange, right? So the color of vested is orange. And I say, no, it's not. Not everything can be strategic. Not everything can be an outcome. And so this is why I really like the book Strategic Sourcing in the New Economy, because it puts vested in context to the other types of models. And it lets ourselves give permission that not everything is strategic. But when you think about your most strategic suppliers, or a union that's working with you, or your employees, those are strategic assets. And we need to be thinking differently and shifting up the continuum to create value and a highly collaborative relationships with these more strategic partners, employees, unions that we work with. So that's the backstory on book number 6.